You're now listening to Directing Magic with your host, Marquette Jones.
Hello, and welcome back to the Directing Magic podcast. I'm so I think I'm actually allowed to curse because it's my show and I got the little E next to it. So fucking excited to have this woman on the show right now. I have been talking. Her name is Tchaiko. Her film is called SOLACE. And we are about to get into it about this making of the first feature. Welcome to the show, Tchaiko.
Thank you, Marquette.
I have been watching you on this journey of making this film for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And the first thing that I want to say is congratulations for getting to the finish line. This is very cool. Very, very cool.
I have lots of feelings and emotions, like excitement, anxiety, nerves, joy, gratitude. It's like within a day, there are all kinds of things going on inside my little heart.
So Solace is, I'm gonna let you tell everybody what the film is about, but it's about to have its world premiere. As we're recording this, it premieres tomorrow, right? At the Los Angeles Film Festival, which is an awesome festival to premiere with. Congratulations on that part too. Awesome. So what is the film about?
Yeah. So I guess I'll first start by saying that this was inspired by my personal journey with an eating disorder and self-harm. And it's a coming-of-age narrative about a 17-year-old girl who gets sent to live with her grandmother that she's never met before because she's orphaned. And she has to navigate a completely foreign, what feels like hostile environment, making new friends, and then a hidden eating disorder. So the film sort of shows us how she navigates this crazy sort of intense period of her life right before she goes to college.
One of the things that struck me about it is you have a little bit of an experimentalness to it.
Yeah.
It's not all straight narrative. What made you decide to do that?
It kind of came in stages. The way in which I did it came in stages. I've always... my brain is sort of much more suited to non-linear ways of thinking and expressing myself. So I made my first feature narrative because I wanted the challenge to learn how to do that. For me, I feel like, experimental, it's like, I feel like I wish I had a better word for it, but I feel like things that are experimental allow for more maybe nuanced emotion and more sort of conceptual ways of interacting with the work. And I'm trying to think. I'm learning how to figure out what I give away with the film before people see it and what I don't. But I'll say this, that I wanted to process is as important to me as the actual product, as the actual work, finished work. And so, being in recovery with an eating disorder, making a film that was dealing with stuff around body, trauma, joy, Black girlhood. In my process, I also wanted to, I wanted to put my process in the film. So I'm doing what I call breaking the fifth wall by putting my own journey of my eating disorder recovery spliced into the film. Mm-hmm. And when you guys see the film, you'll see how I've decided to do that. But it's very much me using my body in an extremely vulnerable way where it's safe to be behind the camera. And so I put myself in the film so that I'm, vulnerable for everybody to see, but that's also part of the process that I had to go through in my eating disorder recovery. Like you have to, when you have an addiction or when you have, let's just say when you have an addiction or when you're trying to heal from anything that has to do with mental health, like the only way to get to the other side is through, and the only way through is like stripping away everything and getting really vulnerable. So, so I kind of took that and put that into the film. And
how do you feel about it not having done it now? And having that be out in the world very, very soon.
Well, it's not, nobody's seen it yet in en masse, in a big theater. So tomorrow I'm sure I'll feel differently than I do now. I know that when I was shooting that segment, because I'm not used to being in front of the camera, I like went nuts. Like I was not well behaved on set because I was so nervous. But when I was editing, you know, my editor and I had to look at my body like repeatedly as we're editing. And it actually was very healing for me because I was able to have a distance and a detachment. So different from being disembodied, which, you know, in the film, I try to represent the feeling of being disembodied, which when you're, you know, binging or if you're cutting, there's a certain level of like out of body experience that you're having. That I try to use the tools of, you know, our cinematic tools with like editing and the way we shot it to illustrate that disembodied feeling. But having like emotional distance from a thought that is traumatic actually helps you to look at it from a more observational and less personal, if that makes sense. And so I was just like watching my body over and over in that way helped me be okay with looking at my body. Like I still have body dysmorphia. I really don't like looking at myself in the mirror still. You know, getting ready for the red carpet for this film has like sent me to the crazy place in the past week.
Do you know what you're wearing?
God, no. My friends are amazing. One friend is out right now looking for sneakers for me because I can't wear heels. And I'm going to be dancing at my party afterwards. And then another friend who has this clothing company, Onion, that's like great for anybody's body type. So I'm wearing her skirt, but I just have no idea about my shoes or my top. And yeah, I'm like, it's the day before. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll work out somehow.
What sneakers are you going to get? Are you doing Converse or?
I don't know. My friend Tajamika is literally looking now. I like gold, but she's told me everybody at the store says gold was last season. So,
but if you do rose gold, I've seen that recently on somebody.
Really?
On the red carpet, yeah.
This is good. You're into fashion. Where can I purchase rose gold shoes?
You could have ordered them online, but it's probably...
I know. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Everything's online now, and I just did not think about it. I've literally been working up until Friday. Like yesterday, I decided was my last day of trying to fundraise. Like whatever I get, I get. And but I just didn't think about it. Like I did not think about go order clothes or shoes online.
You say you were fundraising as of yesterday. What else do you need money for?
So it's mostly it's deliverables. So I'm covered for my sound design. Thank God. Thank you everybody for giving us money. Sound design is covered. Score, music is covered. It's the deliverables for when we get distribution. And I'm saying when, not if.
Absolutely.
And then, you know, their legal fees and what else was on that list? Oh, the marketing, like traveling. So this is what my gut says. And I think it's good for me to listen to my gut instinct. And I'm trying not to be negative, but in general, I don't think Hollywood actually knows how to see Black films. And even more so, I don't think they know how to see Black women in films. And so my film centers Black women. It's made by a Black woman. I really think that the way in terms of the strategy, my sales agent, you know, has a strategy for how to sell the film. My gut spiritual instinct says I need people to be really loud and vocal about how much they want to see the film and how much they enjoy the film and how excited they are, like genuinely excited they are. And that's, I think, what's going to be important to sell the film. So getting my actors to festivals, you know, instead of it just being me, there's something so different when you see like a gang of folks just being like, you know, talking about the experience. Like, you know, why did Lynn and Glynn take a chance on a filmmaker they do not know? You know,
I want to get to that, but I don't want to stop you from talking about the marketing because that is important.
But it's all like that's the stories around how the film got made. I think is exciting, and you know, all of that really helps. And so you need money to. Most of the time, I think festivals just fly the director. So it's like part of the money we're raising is so that I can possibly have a DP come, have the actors come to certain ones, and yeah.
I saw that you're going to be screening at the New Orleans Film Festival.
Yes, so excited.
Are you going to that? Because I will see you there. Yes. Okay, good.
Oh, good. Yeah. I'm going. I believe Lynn Whitfield will be there as well.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I love New Orleans so much. It's like the place in America that reminds me the most of the Caribbean and African countries I grew up in. I love it. And I hope
they do diversity differently than most of these other festivals. Like it feels organic in New Orleans. So like they're like, I don't know how to describe it other than that. Like I see a lot of movies there that I want to see. I see a lot of creative people like that are just feeling comfortable. It's not like, oh, we're off to the side and everybody else is on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
There's a lot of just mixing and blending. So I go just because I like going, and it's close to where I am right now. So,
where are you?
In Alabama, girl.
I maybe might have a job in Alabama in November.
What?
Yeah. So if I get it, I will definitely
call me.
Yeah. I'm fascinated by the South. I'm like scared of it and really fascinated.
It's an interesting place. I mean, 10 blocks in one direction, you feel like you're in a different era. But yeah, but having said that, I think that there's just not as much of an illusion here.
Right. You know where you stand.
Yes. And sometimes it's a good place and sometimes it's just really not. But you're clear and everybody's clear about it. Like if I have a neighbor who has the, Confederate flag on his truck, I'm like, okay, we're good. I get it. And he'll still smile and tell me good morning and ask me about my dog, but still will be out hunting with his guns on the weekend with the Confederate flag. And I'm like, okay, which is different from like Los Angeles or New York.
Yeah.
You just don't know until like something happens.
Some microaggressive comment gets made and you're like, oh, okay, I see.
Yeah. But with New Orleans, so I felt, and because I went last year also, I really enjoyed, I don't know, you're right, just the energies that are swirling around down there are really fantastic.
Yeah, I've never been to the festival, but I've heard great things about it. And one of the filmmakers at IFP, whose story of just like their success story I really responded to, and they had premiered their film at New Orleans Film Festival, and a critic, I guess there was like somebody, I'm like horrible at names, but like a really well-known critic gave them a great review, and that was
made a difference.
Made a difference for them. Because I think, I really appreciate, I'm sure other filmmakers are watching this, but and if you're on your first feature, IFP Narrative Lab, they were so helpful. It was so instrumental in just kind of understanding the realities of the indie industry. And they, explained to all of us, or 10 filmmakers, don't worry if you don't get into Sundance. It's not the end all be all, because that's everybody's focus. It's Sundance. And if I don't get into Sundance, everything's over. But there's actually there's so many paths, I think, to having to achieving your ultimate goal. And I just appreciated hearing other stories outside of Sundance.
So you said Lynn Whitfield is coming with you to New Orleans?
Yeah, I don't know if it's confirmed yet. I hope it is, but they are going to, they're bringing her, and I'm excited. I'm a little upset.
So speaking of casting in general, what was your thought process as you went through and choosing the people that you ended, before you chose the people that you ultimately chose? What were you looking for the grandmother and the main woman?
Whitfield in mind.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I had met her. So I used to assist George C. Wolfe, brilliant director, and I was at his house for a party, and Lynn Whitfield was there, and I just remember being completely taken by her. I don't know what, it was something energetic, and I feel like we maybe might have been talking about her daughter. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I just remember I get like this with people. There's just somebody, and then I just hone in on them, and I'm just you. And it's that kind of energy. And I feel like that was probably, I want to say it was probably 2011 when I met her at George's house. So when I remember when I was doing the Kickstarter in 2014, I'd made all these like mood boards for like who the character, each character was. And Lynn Whitfield's picture was one of the, you know, like was the picture that I used for the Irene character. And then when we got, I was working with a casting director, Rich D'Elia, who I'd met when I was assisting George. And he ended up not being able to do the film because he was like too busy. But before he hopped off, he did help with the Lynn Whitfield deal, and he encouraged me to write her a letter. So I wrote her a letter saying that I met her at, you know, George's party, and there was something about her eyes and like how I wrote this part for her. And then he sent it, Rich D'Elia sent it to her agent, and then you know, she wrote back, and it took a while, but essentially we got to a place where she was like, I'll do it if Glynn Turman does it. And then I had, because the new casting director, Mara Casey, had like been giving me lots of different people, and I hadn't thought of Glynn. And then they showed me, you know, they were like, oh, what about Glynn Turman? And then I was like, ooh, interesting. This would be kind of cool. And then I realized that Lynn and Glynn had been in a film before. And I went over and met Glynn Turman at his house, completely fell in love with Glynn. He's amazing. And he was just so easygoing, and he agreed to do it. So then Lynn agreed to do it. I mean, it's like good for me to remember this, you know, at a time when I'm feeling so anxious and nervous, like, am I going to sell the film? How's it going to be received? To just like focus in on the gift that I was given, because these two folks are like talented veterans. They've been doing this for a long time, and to trust me, I mean, that's such a gift. And Lynn also was dealing with intense family stuff in Louisiana, and I won't get into details about it, but she was dealing with stuff, and she came and she shot this film. I mean, this DIY micro budget film, and she was amazing. She was so amazing, and so was Glynn. Yeah.
With that, what do you think you did to get them to trust you?
I think the script was good for them, and they were interested. I think that was like the big, you know, that was the first step. I remember there were moments on set where I was like, aha, I've gotten them. Like, oh, they know what I feel like it's like this, like little just thing that goes, and you're like, they trust me. Yeah. And I think it's because, so I'm like hella insecure in life, but on set and when I'm directing, there's this spiritual, I don't know, it is, for me, filmmaking is this incredibly spiritual process. And I get very centered when I'm on set. And even if I'm not exactly sure what I need to do to adjust an actor, there's a confidence that I have that I wish I had it in all aspects of life. There's a confidence that I have that it's going to be discovered. And I actually enjoy the process of discovery with actors. I love actors, especially actors who care about their craft. I love actors that still go to class even when they've like made it. And so essentially when we were doing scenes, I would let them do, you know, I sort of would let them do their, you know, what they wanted to do. Then I would do like minor adjustments. And I think there was this one scene where what I wanted them to do wasn't what they would have naturally done. And I just let them, I gave them space to try it their way. And then I just was kind of like, all right, I know this might seem crazy, but how about we just do this? I have this take and I have that take, but I just want to see what will happen if I do this. And then they did it. I remember Lynn did it, and she felt, and I think it must have been that she felt something, because she was like, oh, okay. And so essentially I just think, I do think if as a director, you're confident in your point of view, energetically, that translates to actors. Because it wasn't like I knew everything all the time. Like I remember the last scene of the film, that last scene, everybody was mad at me because we were taking up way longer than we had planned for the day. But I knew it was going to be the last scene in the film. So I was like, it has to be right. And I wasn't sure completely how to get both actors where I wanted them to. So we just kept doing takes, and I kept experimenting, and I was fine with it. And I was totally comfortable with it. I remember this one time Lynn grabbed me. She was like, what you're asking me to do is not possible. And I was like, that's the energy I want. And then we did the scene and then we got it. But that kind of thing like excites me. Like I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of actors when I'm in process. Outside of the film, when I have to deal with Hollywood and I have to deal with strategy and money and am I good enough and blah, 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 that's when I go and I get to the little girl Tchaiko place, like the scared place. But when I'm on set and it's process and it's creative and it's art, then I'm good. It's when it's all the other shit that like I become insecure.
Did she push back at all? Because there's a point of, let's put it this way, there's a point at which we see her freckles.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I've seen her so many times, but I've never seen her truly let her hair down in the way that you have her do so. And I'm saying let her hair down, but I mean like just like no makeup, or it seems like there's no makeup and all of that. Like, how were you able to get her to that place? Because that seems very different from what she might be used to.
I mean, she was just so generous. Like,
yes.
I talked to everybody about my vision for the film, and all the actors, all the young actors, we had no makeup artists for them. They did their own makeup, and that was partially because there was something, I wanted to have the energetic texture of what it was like to be young, and also just a certain kind of rawness. So like doing the film DIY and micro budget, I'm not a punk, but I'm leading into that sort of aesthetic, right? And into that energy. And so it fit. But for Irene's character, the Lynn Whitfield character, it made sense for that there was somebody doing her makeup and her hair who was professional. And then we arced her character, and they knew that they had to start toning down how polished she looked as the film went on. Until the end, I wanted both her personality to sort of, what is the word? Descend into a little bit of chaos. And then I wanted her physically also to start to come apart. And I think it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, I think she looks so gorgeous and raw like that, and even when we were color timing, that's what I did. Like there were times when I would be like, okay, let's make both Soul, that's the character that Hope Olaide played, let's make her face look more soft. Okay, let's make it so that the color, so you can see every single imperfection. And, I was very intentional, and, obviously it did my best, but everything that I did was intentional. Yeah. And I'm obsessed.
I mean, it's clear that that those were choices that were being made, and not just, they forgot makeup.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. But I applaud you on being able to get that amount of vulnerability from her.
I think, it's so weird because it's like I can't even imagine her not being game to do that, because who am I? And she did it for me, so I can't imagine that maybe it's just not, maybe it's not asked of her in other things.
Yeah, it could be that. It could absolutely be that no one else thought to do it, but I still, I mean, I don't know. Like I just felt like she has a character type usually that she plays, and actually some friends of mine joked about it, and I say this lovingly, but like nobody plays bitchy Christian like Lynn Whitfield. Like nobody does.
Because did she do this before Greenleaf? Was that what she was known? Because Greenleaf came after we shot Solace. So I shot Solace in 2015, and I remember talking to Lynn on the phone when she was driving to set, and she was telling me about this new show that she's doing in Atlanta for OWN. And she was describing it, and that's what turned out to be Greenleaf. So I know that she's known for playing like sort of stern, bitchy women, but I guess now everybody because of Greenleaf, similar. But we'll see. I hope that I've never seen Greenleaf before. I have to sort of protect myself, So I hope that there's some distinction.
There is. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yours is, I'll just leave there. There's a distinction. One thing that I really wanted to chat with you about, because this has been a long journey for you, to talk about that part a little bit. When did you first conceptualize this project?
Jesus, it's been so long. So I'm 40. I turned 40 this year, and I want to say that I had gotten a residency when I was 25. I got a residency to go to Cape Cod and write. So at 25, I worked on 2 stories. One about a ferry, which I made a short film about, and then the other was this idea. But it initially started more focused on the cutting. Because at age 25, I actually didn't know I had an eating disorder. I was more sort of interested in, at the time I was just more aware of like my self-harming stuff that was going on. And so the story was about a girl who, was obsessed with her neighbor who was a cutter, and then she started to cut as well. So it started at 25, and then I kind of left it, came back to it. And then at 30, when I hit rock bottom at 30 with my food stuff, and then sort of when I was a little bit into recovery, I changed the story. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a long ass time. So I made a short film that did the festival circuit in 2012. And then I went back and rewrote the feature script that I had started at 25 in like 2012 and sent it to Sundance. I think I was like a semi-finalist at the Sundance 2012 Writers Lab. I really wanted to get in, but I didn't get in. I was like hella disappointed. I was super sad. And then I think that was around the time when like Ava DuVernay, it's 2012. Yeah. Because when did Ava's first film come out? I can't remember, but it was sometime around that time. Cause I remember being
11 or 12
by her, because I thought, oh shit, I'm Black. The only way that I'm going to be successful is if I go through Sundance. And so to see Ava, make her first film also for like, $50,000, but not having gone through a traditional route that most of the Black directors I knew that were successful went through. That was like hella inspiring for me. Mm-hmm. I just need to know that there are other pathways, because I don't seem to fit into like, I guess the way things happen for most people. Mm-hmm. Like maybe that's my story that I need to like let go of, but that's just been how it is. Like, yeah.
So when did you have like a made up mind about the feature?
It was made up in 2012. Cause I remember when I was doing the festival circuit, I was, having
pitching the short. Pitching the feature.
I can't even remember if I was pitching, like maybe, I don't remember, but it was more so that like, I was like, I have the script. How do I get this made? And so I remember doing like, online classes about making a business plan to get investors for features, and none of that worked. But 2013 I'd started, and then 2014, my friend Chelsea Peretti, who has an executive producer credit on the film, like I remember so clearly, her and her friend Josh Raffay. Josh is a filmmaker, and I had like given to his crowdfunding campaign for his doc, and that's how we got to know each other via Chelsea. And they were both in my kitchen. They were like, Tchaiko, just do it. Just do it. Just do the Kickstarter. It doesn't matter if it doesn't, if you don't make the money, and if it fails, just do it. And it was just like, I had these two people being like, rah, do it. Like, okay, I'm going to do it. And so then I did it. And it was like such a magical, I haven't gotten to that level of openness and receiving since that first one, but it was pretty incredible. I was like working the biggest job I had ever done. I was like production managing an Audi car commercial while the Kickstarter campaign was going on. And I like, my goal was 30,000 and I got 33,000. Like it was pretty something like that, but it was really awesome.
Cool. So was there ever a point where you thought, I'm never going to get this finished?
Hell yeah. Like it's just like I feel like my person, I'm like have a Gemini moon and rising, and so
my god. No.
Okay, I'll just give you all of it. I'm an Aquarius with a Gemini moon and a Gemini rising. I have not one foot on the ground. Like I struggle here on Earth. And so I'm always having these like two things going on. So on the one hand, there's this like deep knowingness that I'm going to finish. because I've never quit anything.
Mm-hmm.
But then, of course, the like negative voice, which is a lot louder for me most of the time, is just like, you're never going to finish. You're probably going to die. Like I literally actually, like as recent as last week, was like, okay, thank God I finished sound design. So at least if I die now, the film is done and nobody else is going to have to finish it for me. But like I was constantly thinking I was going to die and then who was going to finish the film? Or I just thought like, then I also just thought stress was going to kill me because I got really depressed making this film. I had this, you know, like I was saying before, 2016, I got into Tribeca All Access, IFP Narrative Lab. I was like, cool, Tchaiko, you're going to finish this film. Like someone's going to give you $50,000 because that's the last amount that you need after shooting. And then nothing happened and we ran out of money and I couldn't get money. And I just, that along with all the like, I had this, trying to think of a better term for it than the using the N-word. But I had a moment, a wake-up moment, where, you know, so I didn't grow up in America. Like, let me preface by saying that. Like, I came here when I was 16, but I've been very, like, in bubble environments. Like, I went to the UN high school, then I went to Columbia, then I was in, like, queer Brooklyn lesbian scene. And so, to me, working and doing this film, where I came up front with the hypocrisy of liberal white Hollywood, it was like getting a punch in the face. Like, and so it was like in 20, and it was so marked. I was so clear about the year, right? It was 2016. It was like the high of getting into all these things and meeting all these people. And then the low of realizing, oh, it's just a lot of talk. And then simultaneously seeing the racism of just like, people being like, oh, why don't you ask Oprah? And me being like, would you tell any white person to just go ask Steven Spielberg for money? Right. Like, oh, no, but Oprah has body issues. I was like, yeah, but just because Oprah might have, why do you think? It was crazy. Like film people would tell me to go ask Oprah, right? And I'm
in my family. Got it.
Oh no, it's one thing if it's your family because you know your parents don't know anything about film, right? Like my mom has just started calling me a director, but in the past would tell everybody I was a producer. But when it's people who are film people, right, who are telling you to go ask Oprah, but then in your group of cohorts, they're giving people much more detailed advice about how to get money. It's this thing, you know, and I'm very sensitive, but it's also part of like, that's like racist where it's like, you know, I'm just going to call it. Yeah, it's racist. And then also to then watch a bunch of films made by white people with black or non-black people about black people get funding like that was really hard because then at the same time meeting people and being like, you're a black woman, people want to give money to you, this should be easy for you, you just have to learn how to say it the right way, and you know, like it's diversity, you're a hot ticket right now. Like I've had so many people, white and black, mostly black men, not black women, but white people and black men tell me that this is our time for, as a black woman, you are the box everybody wants to check off. You're going to get money easily. And then to still struggle to raise money, even though literally my film has veteran actors. I have never seen a film do what I'm doing in my film, right? And still struggle to get money. It made me feel like something was wrong with me. I was stupid. And so then also, as that was going on, I was also waking up to America. So who was the first televised murder? Not televised, the internet one. What was Trayvon the first kid that got killed? So many.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I think it was Trayvon before Tamir Rice.
Yes, because Trayvon, I think, was happening while I was fundraising in the 2014 Kickstarter. And it was really hard to figure out how to ask money for a film when hearts are broken, right? But I was able to do it. I was able to focus, keep my eye on the prize. Like all my black folks were hella supportive. They're like, no, this stuff is important. Like keep your focus. Then the second person got murdered. Then the third person got murdered. And and because I used to work in commercials, it's a very white space. It would be really psychologically disorienting to go to work and hear white people say things like, well, I believe in the 10 Commandments in response to Ferguson shooting, of like why he deserved, basically why he deserved to get shot. So all of this is going on while also being in liberal white Hollywood, being told that like I'm the like poster child for getting money because everybody wants to help Black women, but no money's coming. And all, it's like all of the things at the same time. Why am I talking about this again? I completely forgot. I went off on it. Anyway, I got hella depressed in 2016 and literally, that's what did I think I was going to finish the film. I got very depressed and I was really burnt out and I was exhausted. I've had 2 miscarriages in the past year of like trying to finish this film. I more so than me being like, am I going to finish? I literally felt like, this might sound dramatic, but is Hollywood going to kill me? Like, is this pursuit of like trying to get my film made going to kill me? Because my body is literally breaking down from stress because of racism, Yeah,
I won't get into my personal story right now about that, but I will say, I hear you and feel you.
Every single Black woman I know does. I mean, unless it's like, and I'm not talking about the outliers, right? Because I think it's really not helpful to be like, but there's Dee Reese. But then there's Ava, because white supremacy white supremacy will always allow for a couple to come through to keep the blindfolds on about really what's going on. Well, if you have a lot of Black female director friends who are making amazing work, and you talk to them, and we all have the similarity of like, we're dealing with depression. We're dealing with housing issues, right? Because like, how the fuck are you going to make art if you are still struggling where to like live, right? Dora Neale Hurston did her best work when she was supported financially. So I'm like not, like in some articles I'll talk about, and I believe this, right? There's immense creativity to be found in lack, but I don't want that to be used as an excuse to not give us money. Like shift the resources and give us money. Like, I wonder what more could I have done with this film if all the energy that was taken to raise money, if all the energy that was taken to like fight against the microaggressions and the racism, blah, 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 blah. How expansive how much more expansive could my creative mind have gotten,
Well, I mean, you've pulled it off regardless, even under less than ideal circumstances. So just no matter what, this premiere and future screenings, this is a monumental thing. You have moved into a new place in the canon.
I will be doing splits, working at my after party in celebration.
Yes.
all out. Like Tribeca came through and sponsored our after party.
Nice.
And so they were the first ones to give me institutional support. I'm still not sure how that happened. I'm grateful, but it was super helpful.
So before we wrap up, I like to ask people, what's something you're excited about that has nothing to do with making movies?
Babies. Yeah. I'm baby crazy. I want a baby so bad. Baby and house.
Okay. So you have a partner, I take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I call him my husband.
Awesome.
We're not married, but he is my husband. Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Thank you.
You're probably like the third guest who had that answer on the show.
In-house?
Baby. Either they were announcing that they were pregnant on the show, or they were like, I'm about to get pregnant, and so watch out for that. And that was the thing they were excited about.
I think if I can pull it off, it will bring lots of great blessings. That is my hope.
Well, I wish you very, very, I want to say luck, but is luck what you need?
I don't know. I need
whatever it is, good choo-choo.
To stay alive until it comes out my vagina. That's what I need to happen.
Well, whatever you need in order to make that happen. You're going to New Orleans, girl. You may conceive right there, and that'll be the one. Watch and see.
I know. Thank you.
Well, thanks for being on the show, and thanks for being so candid about your process. This was really great. I think people are going to love hearing it.
Awesome. I hope so.
You've been listening to Directing Magic with Marquette Jones. Be sure to visit directingmagic.com for past episodes and other information relating to the show. Also, be sure to subscribe and rate and comment on iTunes. Until next time, bye-bye.